This is All of It on WNYC. I'm Allison Stewart. Comedian Josh Johnson is known for a lot of things. His work on The Daily Show, where he started as a writer and is now a host. He has a podcast. He does a lot of stand-up sets, which he posts on YouTube and gets millions of hits. Now he has his first HBO comedy special. It's titled Symphony, and you can stream it now on HBO Max. Like a lot of Josh's humor, much of the special feels more like storytelling than joke-telling. He touches on things that make life extraordinary and mundane at the same time. And that's what makes this special special. Let's get into my recent conversation with comedian Josh Johnson. So before you came to the WNYC studios, you were like on the corner of Grand and Worcester Street?
Yes.
What happened?
So we did a little thing with everybody where people gathered together and I had them play some music on a giant keyboard, and then we had ice cream.
How'd it go?
It was fun.
Yeah,
it was great. It was great to meet everyone. Yeah, it was. I was very thankful so many people showed up.
What kind of ice cream did you have?
I'm a pretty vanilla guy.
Just like straight vanilla is good.
Yeah, straight vanilla is fine.
It's just fine. Mm-hmm. You are the person who figured out the internet.
I don't know about that.
Well, you got close. Let me tell you. With you're releasing your videos on Tuesday night, they go up. When did you realize this was the way to get your comedy out to the world?
I've always written a lot. I've always had lots of ideas and become a bit bored easily of doing the same set for no reason. Like if I was doing the same set with no real goal towards what I was going to change about the joke or the story or the delivery, then I just wanted to move on. And so a friend of mine was like, "Oh, why don't you talk about more current events and everything?" And that sort of set me off on this path where I do the topical stuff on YouTube and everything. Yeah. And I think that it's just done really well with what I was doing before, which was I was writing a lot and it had no place to go, because even if you show up to a record label, like let's say there's a comedy record label and they are willing to put out a couple of your albums, they mean to put out these albums over the course of however long. Mm-hmm. And so if you came to them with 10 albums, they'd be like, all right, we're covered for 5 years or something,
Yeah.
And so if you want to release things or share things with people, the internet, especially YouTube, has just given us the ability to just put the thing out there for the sake of it being out there. And I think that that's what feels different about what I do weekly versus the special. The special is meant to be something that doesn't really have ties to any particular period, and my intention and my belief is that it could be watched now or decades from now and still hold up is always the goal. It's the goal when anybody puts their work out, but I think that there are things that just can't be helped. Like sometimes if you are talking about politics and you just mention Trump or Ted Cruz by name, even if they're doing something that politicians have done for a long time, you immediately date the thing. You immediately date what you're talking about. And for anyone who doesn't understand the sort of cyclical nature of politics, you are talking about a specific thing, even if you allude to something that's been happening for decades.
So you see what you do on YouTube and the specials, very different things.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's interesting. So when did you know, when you were with the YouTube part, when did you know that was working, that this idea of putting it up weekly, staying really topical was working?
I felt like it was working when it was working for me. I enjoyed putting it up. I enjoyed having something that definitely kept a writing practice intact. And I think that long before videos were getting like millions of views, I was still enjoying what I was doing, and it was something that I felt like was meeting a purpose. And so I got really excited about doing it long before there was like this level to it, I guess you could say.
So with the HBO comedy special, you said it's supposed to sort of last years into the future. Mm-hmm. How is that to write?
I think it's, I don't want to say easy, but I think you can pretty clearly speaks to something that everyone will most likely go through, even if not in the way that you went through it. I think that when you are talking about a celebrity couple, once again, it's a dated thing. You know, if you're talking about two people and what happened between them, it is in relation to people's assessment of whose side they even took and what tabloid they read or something. But if you're talking about love in general and the ability to fall in love or the ability to be loved, those things are so open and universal that I think that speaking to what is universal then speaks to what is timeless.
I'm talking to Josh Johnson. His new comedy special, Symphony, premieres on HBO Friday, May 22nd. The words at the beginning of the special at Symphony, it says, "If art is how we decorate space and music is how we decorate time, comedy is how we decorate reality." Now, the first part was written by Jean-Michel Basquiat.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the second part. Comedy is how we decorate reality.
I think that you could look at something that happened and just as it happened, just as it is. And then as it is the same thing as those other elements. Space is as it is, time as it is. But then that decoration is a choice. It's a decision to engage in what you already have, but how you want to experience it. And so I think that making art out of a white wall or a canvas and making music out of the time you have in your day is very similar to making comedy out of the thing that we all noticed, like the thing that's in the room or the thing that someone said or most of what I think comedy is and why people laugh is there's a relation to what the comedian has said with something that you've already been thinking. And then the same way that people express a vision of like a beautiful vista across a canvas and it pulls out of you your experiences with views. And the same way that people might pull a piece of music out of themselves through their experiences that connects with the current experience you're having, whether it's heartbreak or joy or like a new feeling. And I think that comedy meets people where they are in a way of this is the thing that's happening. And maybe you know how you feel about it, maybe you don't. But here's me expressing, pulling out of myself all the things that I think about what's happening around us. And I think that connection, while like funny, is also a connection to what's going on with people and a sort of not back channel, but a sort of thing that unintended. There's an intention for the comedian, and I think it's unintended by the audience to sort of lift the veil of how they feel about something. Because one of the reasons sometimes people don't want to laugh at a joke is because we have an inherent belief that laughter is agreement. And so I think that if you can pull that agreement out of people, then you have rightfully expressed yourself and you've decorated the sort of reality. Like I think it is. I'll just give an example because I feel like I'm not expressing it as well as I could. It is not funny as in ha funny all the time, but it is funny that like a reality star became president. And it's not ha funny as in like no one cares, whatever, let's just move on. But it is funny as in crazy, the things that happen every day. And so if you feel like this thing that's happening right now is insane, and then I express that I also feel like it's insane, it has that same notion that you pull out of when you make a piece of art for someone that they immediately connect with. It's just in this case, you're connecting with words and with intention around an economy of words and a point of view.
Can I ask you a question that's got nothing to do with comedy and it's got nothing to do with your special? And you can tell me to move on. I saw in an interview that your mom, she was a special ed teacher, and then she had neurosurgery, and she became a librarian. And I recently had I had brain surgery. Oh. So we're similar situation. Sounds like your mom. What did you learn from that experience as her son, dealing with her illness? I
was little, but still there's an appreciation for how precious she is, how like absolutely like special she is, and it was a it was a clue into how special so many people are, and how delicate those relationships are, and how delicate the time is that you have with people. I'm very thankful that she not only pulled through, but she's been living a great life, and I want to give her an amazing life and everything. Anytime I can, I'm spending time with her, and any time that I'm able to, I'm trying to make sure that she doesn't want for anything. But yeah, that was a real clue into like impermanence and everything. And so I think even as a kid, it made me take a lot of life a bit more seriously, because I didn't really have, and I'm blessed in this case, I didn't really have any great losses until I got a little bit older. And so just that one mixed in with, my grandma had some health issues when I was really young as well. And I was so young that I admittedly don't even fully remember what they were. And so there was that same thing with my grandmother as well. But more so with my mom, because that felt like I was finally old enough to have an understanding of what was happening. Yeah.
With Symphony, what do you hope people will talk about after seeing the show?
I mean, I hope that they can take away the central message, and maybe, the internet is as good as it is bad. So I'm
Yes.
hoping that.
I think you're pretty well liked though on the internet.
Oh yeah, thanks. No, I'm not even talking about in relation to me. I just think if you share a positive message in the, how do I put this? I think sharing any sort of like unifying or positive message in the face of like divisive rhetoric and like open tragedy and like cruelty in the world, there's ways that you can do it that are trying to remind people and call people, even yourself, to like our better nature as people. And then there are ways of doing it that sound completely and totally naive to situations that are happening right now. And so I don't think that positivity is naive, and I don't think that having as close as you can to a calling back home is naive. But I can respect how people who are going through it right now, or people who are at the forefront of the unfairness of governments, of countries, of the current world that we're in, might not meet that same message with the level of grace that would be needed to. The level of grace that would need to be accepted. Like, I think that if you have been victim of an injustice, or if you are a survivor of systemic injustice, then someone calling to an idea of how connected we all are may not resonate with you, and I think that's perfectly fair. And so my hope is that people can take from it the thing that I intended, which is a reminder of how two main things. One is that everybody is pretty much the same, and not the same as in the exact same person or people do all the same stuff, but I just believe that when I try to meet people where they are, quote unquote, I do it with a certain understanding of, if I can find out as much information about them as possible, I can come to an understanding of why they might be the way that they are. I think that doesn't mean that I will condone their behavior. It doesn't mean that I might even like them. But I think that if you have a real understanding of someone, then how they got to be the way they are is usually no great mystery. And the other thing is that everything is connected. I think that there are levels of connection and through lines that if you were telling a grand story about humanity, pulled together like pieces of a plot that can only be seen a certain way by certain people. So there are people who come up with stories I could never come up with, and there are people who draw conclusions and make connections that I would never be able to. And I think that those two things, like that everyone's kind of the same in a way, and that we're all connected, are the ideas I would like to impart with the special.
That was my conversation with Daily Show comedian Josh Johnson. His stand-up special Symphony is available to stream now on HBO. And that is all of it for today. All of it is produced by Kate Hines, Jordan Loff, Simon Close, Zach Goddard-Cohen, El Malik Anderson, Luke Green, and Sasha Linden Cohen. Our interns are Emma Lee and Joey Jerva. Megan Ryan is the head of live radio. Our engineers are Juliana Fonda, Jason Isaac, and Amber Bruce. Luscious Jackson does our music. If you missed any segments this week, catch up by listening to our podcast, available on your podcast platform of choice. If you like what you hear, please leave us a great rating. I'm Allison Stewart. I appreciate you listening, and I appreciate you. I'll meet you back here next time.